Hello, hi, and welcome again to the Terminal Podcast, where in the end, it's all about the numbers. The great number reset has just passed, but in preparation, your music provider likely has provided you with your favorite songs from 2024. Tonight, we're going to look back a little further to answer a random question. Which year in hip hop was better, 1988 or 1994? My guests tonight have researched in preparation, so let's get introduced with your name, location, and favorite song from either year. I'll start from my right. So, Ed,
Ed Molina, from Brooklyn, but in Jersey tonight. And my favorite song from either era, uh, Children's Story by Slick Rick, 1988.
Kenny,
Hi, this is Kenny calling from McDonough, and my favorite song from either era, "Ain't No Half Steppin'" by Big Daddy Kane.
Fuzz.
It's Buzz calling in from
For those who can't see the W in the camera,
Playoffville. I'm gonna go with "What Would You Do" by Dog Pound.
Rashawn.
Yeah, Rashawn calling in from Atlanta, and I'm gonna go Microphone Fiend from 1988.
So everybody, that's their top song. My favorite song is Boogie Down Productions, My Philosophy. But we've all got that's our top, but we've all got a top five song list we've all created, and I've asked for top five albums from each of these years just to kind of get a feel for the sound of what really is going to be remembered album wise, because the top albums usually ends up like that from, and I'll just describe it as the last year of old school rap. It's just it was when I've said this in this text with everybody, but it's when promoting your DJ was acceptable. You could just rap about just my DJ this, my DJ that. That was fine. Rappers, and I'm standing on this, worried about their parents, because it's not just Fresh Prince that's worried about his parents. There's a couple other people who are worried about their parents, or my mom might catch me, things like that, because it was still that young, or they actually had something truly meaningful to say. Uh, the album conversation, I feel like there's most of us are going to have the same. Ed, you went and got more. You and Fuzz each got 10. So I'll start with you. Just give me your top five, Ed. What you got?
Sure, for 88 albums, give me,
Mm-hmm.
hold on 1 second. I have them listed. I did my research. So for 88, I have number one, Long Live the Kane, by Big Daddy Kane. Number two, I have Great Adventures of Slick Rick by Slick Rick. Number three, I have Public Enemy, It Takes a Nation to Hold Us Back. And number four, I have NWA Straight Outta Compton. And number five, I got MC Light, Light as a Rock.
All right. It, this is what I was saying, because at the end of the day, it's like, all right, you named off at least two of mine that I was had considered. Kenny, what you got on yours?
I just want to say this was an extremely agonizing list to put together for 1988. I didn't realize just how many bangers were put out that year. But my top five were Boogie Down Productions, By All Means Necessary, Big Daddy Kane, Long Live the Kane, Public Enemy, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, Eric B. and Rakim, Follow the Leader, and Slick Rick, The Great Adventures of Slick Rick.
See, like that's the top six, but that's understandable because
Oh, I
there's
gave you
any kind
six?
of that's all right. It's
That's how
understandable. There's no
agonizing it
way.
was.
It's hard to kind of narrow this whole thing down. And this is all albums. This is not, yeah, these are albums. Fuzz, what do you got? Top five albums from '88. Top five hip hop
Um,
albums from '88.
Number 5, "Long Live the Kane." Number 4, "By All Means Necessary." Number 3, "Great Adventures of Slick Rick." Number 2, "Straight Outta Compton." And number 1 is actually my all-time favorite rap album, "Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back."
This is my point, because it's like, yeah, there's a everybody's saying one or two that have been said or said before and everything like that. There's a couple of changes and everything, but Rashawn, how many originals from out of those out of your top five? How many have actually not been said yet? I
They've
mean, but
all
they
been
may have been in the
said.
top five, but
They literally all been said. So,
no, I'm like, there's a lot of great. There's I don't want to say few, but when it comes to albums, when it comes to actually putting this all together, and you're gonna listen to the whole thing, it's like, yeah, there's not that many. So mine that haven't been said, um, I'm gonna stand on this, which is he's the DJ, I'm the rapper, by Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
yeah,
It it the I guess it kind of gets boohooed or whatever like that because of the commercial ability of it and everything like that. But that's what it was. It was as pure as that. And Will Smith, for whatever he is, he was a pretty good rapper. He kind of still, I mean, I don't know if he still is, but go ahead. What you got, Ed?
No, to your point, it's like I think hip hop had those lanes where you could be kind of wholesome, for lack of a better word, like Fresh Prince, or a bat to the face like Public Enemy or NWA, like fist to the face. I think that was the beauty of hip hop of '88 in that era, is that you had such eclectic lanes all over the place, as opposed to, I guess, modern day hip hop.
So,
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that. Even like Bismarck, he was putting out his songs, Nobody Beats the Biz. It was like you could really be yourself and be creative during that time period where now everybody tries to sound like one another. But back then, there were so many different lanes for hip hop, so definitely agree with
well,
that, Ed.
very true. Just to
oh,
tack
go
on to
ahead.
that, like the one that fell outside of the top five was "Life Is" by Too Short.
Mm.
Like
Hmm.
that. I mean, again, he was doing his own thing in his own lane, but yeah, that was a banger for real.
It was in my
Yeah.
top 10. It was in my top 10. But going to Fresh Prince, great
Mhm.
album. No argument there. But Rock the House, though.
Mm.
To me, I don't know. Like, I definitely, like, there were a couple sophomore albums that I didn't put on my list because I was like, but the debut was better, which I would put Fresh
Rocked
Prince
out.
in that
Oh, I
category.
see what you're saying. In terms of the album, in terms of which album was the better album.
I mean,
Yeah.
you have to pick some nuances, right? So, like, if it's not their best album, I might have,
Oh, well,
like, leaned a little bit one way. Like, you got
it
to
was
figure out
specifically
some way to
88.
decide where you're going.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, but
But that's just me.
that's fine. I mean, the one album that was one, and like I said, the other ones by all means necessary. Follow the leader, long live the king. Y'all have all said the other one, and it's EPMD, Strictly Business,
Yes.
and
Yes.
R.I.P. Mike
Yeah.
Browski from Teaneck, New Jersey, passed away way back. But he put me onto that album. I was going, so I can remember going past his house, and he was like, "You gotta hear this," and just the yeah, yeah. So
Can I give just two that I think maybe would not be in your top 10?
go ahead.
Well, at 10, I had Info Gear by Stetsasonic.
Ooh.
Okay, interesting.
And where's the other one? It was pretty high, too. Oh, at number 6, I had Straight Out the Jungle by the Jungle Brothers.
Yeah, yeah,
That was on my list too.
yeah.
See, the only reason I'd put it on there, and that would be I'd have to put it on there is I don't. It's just not. It's okay. You know what I mean? It's the introduction of the native tongue and everything like that. But it's like, all right,
Can I share an unpopular opinion?
go ahead.
Everybody's going to want to take my head off, but that's my favorite native tongue album.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Damn.
Yeah.
I told you
Yeah.
don't want to take my head off.
Really?
I've
I'm
been
about
on
to.
I've been on the
I
Jungle Brothers since I was a
For
young puss.
those
I'm telling
for
you.
those only listening to the audio, Kenny's wearing the Midnight Marauders shirt.
Right.
No, I know. That's why I say unpopular opinion. I know y'all hate me for it. I'm just saying.
Yo,
I'm not
but what's
I'm
hating.
just
funny?
I'm not
saying
hating at
that's
all.
been my thing for a long time. I love that album.
Wow, because a lot of times you get the Midnight Marauder album, or you get like mine's is probably De La Soul is Dead. Like you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
De La
Like,
Soul would
that's
Right.
be the runner up for me. Yeah.
De La
but
Soul is
it's
Dead's
like
my favorite.
that's
Is that's my favorite De La Soul album without question. That's the only other is either it's that or Low End Theory or
Yeah.
Midnight Marauders. I mean, that's 1, 2, 3. It's a question
I
of
like Balloon Mind State.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Can
yeah.
Blue
I
Mind State.
can I throw two more out there? Just from
Go
doing the
ahead.
research.
From
Uh,
'88.
yeah, from '88. You
Yeah.
had Too Hype by Kid and Play.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And then this was evidently the beginning of the Hammer era.
Uh-huh.
Let's get started.
Let's get it
See,
started.
I was
first of
hoping
all,
someone would bring that up because
there's
I
it's
Yeah,
think
but
we
Too
owe
Big
that man an
MC.
apology.
Yeah,
that almost
Too
that
Big.
almost
Just
has to
off
go. See,
sales,
that's like the
just
kind of
off
thing that would go into
sales, you can
singles.
put
But
it
go ahead.
there.
I'm sorry. Go
No, no,
ahead,
I
Ed.
mean,
You were
but
saying.
I mean that from what Hammer was. I mean, this was the beginning of it. So
Well, I don't know if it reached a level like that. You were saying something, Fuzz? No.
Yeah, just off sales, we can't. Nobody can dispute Hammer.
Yes,
I
that's
mean,
yeah.
just off what he sold, like, go ahead, throw Hammer
And
in there.
and I'll add to that on some goon shit. Can't mess with Hammer either. Like
Exactly. That's the
Oh
other
yeah,
thing.
watch
The
what
other-
you say to him.
that's
Watch what
right.
you say
That's
about
right.
him.
Oh,
he
Hammer,
will turn his mother out on you.
Right.
Yeah.
he put a hit.
He
What didn't he put a hit on MC Search?
Yes,
Like
he
real
did.
live, put
Bird
money on his
Bass,
head.
all of them. Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. You talk bad about him if you
And he
want to,
confronted
but
on the last Yo MTV Raps, he confronted Redman about another
Right.
line or something. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
yo, that
mhm.
man, maybe he wasn't the goon, but allegedly his brother, and he had that whole Oakland crew. Like,
That was he
I don't
had
know if
So
any of
Oakland.
y'all
right.
ever been to Oakland, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Watch
Oakland
your
is
mouth.
rough.
Yeah. Don't let those baggy pants fool you.
Right.
nope,
Right.
All
nope.
right. Hold on a sec. So yeah, yeah, that's the problem when you by 94, it hip hop had something to say. It expanded. Hip hop had something to say. I'm not saying it with the southern slang, but it had expanded nationally and globally, and a large part to MTV, which we all grew up with. And as a culture, I think we take for granted the direct association with the audio and visual when it comes to music. And this is the degree coming out, which is I wanted to be a radio broadcaster. And yes, I know I could still go work for a radio station, but the reach the format had is a thing of the past, like the 20th century, because it was where you got music. That's where you got news. It's where it was a viable source for years, even into the 80s and 90s. You still were listening to the radio. You know what I mean? It
Talk
wasn't, you
radio
know what I mean?
blew up.
It was still something. Um, you can listen, you could be on the radio and listen to players ball. And I'd be, if it played it on Hot 97, I could listen to it and imagine, but I could watch the video and see what a black man heaven looked like to two dope boys in a Cadillac. That's it's just and yeah. I'll go from there and start in Atlanta. Sean, which one of your albums, what your top five albums from '94 that was just for real?
All right.
'94.
In no particular order, Illmatic,
Mm-hmm.
Ready to Die,
Mm-hmm.
Southern Playalistic,
So those
Cap-
are the three that pretty much are going to be on everybody. So go
right.
ahead.
To
Some
Cal,
fashion. Oh, all right.
and then I was like into my whole little thing. So this is my number five or the fifth one, Blowout Cone, Digital Planets.
Mm.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. Fuzz, you get ahead. What's your top five from '94?
All right, I'll start from the top because I think 4 and 5 other people may get mad. So number one, Last was my favorite rap album of all time. My favorite rapper of all time is Biggie, Ready to Die. Number two is Illmatic, then
Mm-hmm.
Southern Playalistic.
All right, so let's just vote. Can we all agree that in some form of fashion, those three
It's gonna
albums
be
are going
top three. Those, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, they're all
that's
like
my
that.
top three. I'm not gonna lie, those are my top three
I
too.
mean, I feel like that's yeah. So number four,
Hold on a sec. I'm doing side promotion because that's three of the final eight that remain in the RDAT, the rap debut album tournament that I do on a podcast as well as this one. The next one's coming up soon, so be on the lookout and however you would do things like that. So you were saying Fuzz, because your 4 5 is what you were concerned about.
Yeah, well, not concerned. Nothing
Mhm.
concerns me.
Well, concern is a
Um,
different word. But yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean concern, but
Number four is the sun rises in the east.
Hmm.
okay, that's
Mhm.
Java, right?
Yeah.
Jeru the
J.
Damager.
Mm-hmm.
Ru.
Damaging.
Which, if you ask me, if we're talking about best hip hop, to me, give me Come Clean over any beat there is. I'm
Hmm.
Okay,
definitely a primo guy, and Come Clean is it. If you from the East Coast and you were listening to hip hop in the '90s, that's the
that's
one
it.
right there.
That
That's
was
it.
the beat. That beat was so disgusting and disrespectful.
Yeah.
Now, number five,
Mm-hmm.
this guy, I don't know. Ed knows how much this guy lives in my heart. Is Scarface the Diary?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Scarface, possibly the most. I mean, and he gets his accolades, and I still think he might be the most slept on rapper of all time.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
I get it's hard too. It is hard
Maybe
too.
Redman. Maybe the only other person is Redman.
And that's yes, and that's but hopefully we'll see if this whole new album gets him. Uh,
Oh, this Redman album's dope. This new
I
one.
still need to
before I was
listen
gonna
to
say
it.
I
I
didn't want
still
to
need
Oh,
to
go
it's a
off on
listen
the
to it.
banger.
thread of
Yeah.
how everybody thought about this Redman album, but Kenny, go ahead. Besides the big three, so basically four and five is basically the question. Is what it comes down to.
Well,
Sorry.
I'll probably gonna catch some slack for this, but I'm probably the only one that doesn't have Outkast on their list.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So my
Yes,
top five,
you'll catch some
my top.
slack.
Yeah. So my top five were Nas Illmatic, Biggie Ready to Die,
Mm-hmm.
J. Rue the Damage and the Sun Rises in the East, Redman There Is a Dark Side, and
Mm.
P Rock and CL Smooth the Main Ingredient.
All right.
Okay. I'm as big a Redman fan as possible, and I do love There Is a Dark Side, but I don't know many other people do. And I was gonna say that's
It was in
yeah.
my top 10.
It's
Mine
it's
too.
Redman on acid, basically, is what it is.
Yeah.
So
And it was perfect for me because that was around the time where I discovered The Devil's Lettuce. We'll just call it
Mm,
that. And
yes.
okay.
yeah, so that album was perfect for that.
Well
It
then
makes
yeah.
sense now. Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
that definitely.
It's legal in New York and Jersey, so it's all good.
Yeah.
I
And
would never touch the
what's
stuff.
Says the guy who's always on Eddie's.
and what's your
Oh
four
man.
or
Talk about.
five?
Okay, so let's knock the top three. I think we don't have to mention it. The top three, I am of that ilk. If
Mhm.
anything, my order would be Biggie, Nas, and Outkast, just on a personal level. However, for number four, this is actually one of my personal favorite albums. Like it's I guess it tweaks my metalhead sensibilities. I have a number four, Gravediggers, 6 Feet Deep. I love
Ooh.
that album. I love that production. It's so far different from everything. They're the only ones that successfully did horror rap, like in a way that was uh consumable for the audience. Like
Right.
Flatliners stunk. I'm sorry. They just,
Oh, they were horrible.
yeah. So number four, I got Gravediggers. And number five, man, I was torn between this and Gangstar Hard to Earn because we were talking about
Yeah.
Primo. But I have number five. I'm a big fan of this album, Thug Life Volume 1, which is mostly a Tupac album. Bury Me a G, Pour Out a Little Liquor is one of my favorite all-time pop tracks. Like that album has some great pop bangers before he went to jail, before he got into this whole East Coast West Coast thing. This was when he still had affiliations in the East with Naughty by Nature and Tretch. I love that album. So I have that in my number five is Thug Life Volume 1. Although I
Okay.
never know if a volume 2 or 3 or 4 ever came out, but it's a volume 1.
I get everybody, Rashawn. I get you.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
just
I
me.
kicked off the big three.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
That's right. So then we did get Kenny. So I've got in my order is Nas, Biggie, Outkast. And as I said, uh hard to earn. I had four, five, six. I didn't really have them in order. Hard to earn somewhere there. It's either five, but everybody's talking about theirs. One of my favorite albums, and I completely forgot about it until I looked back on it, is Master Ace sitting on Chrome.
Didn't on Chrome came out in one of
Mm,
those years?
Sitting on Chrome
Really?
came out. Well, I take that
Because
back. Sitting on
I did
Chrome
research. I didn't see that
I
anywhere.
didn't see it
it
either.
it
I
would have been in the conversation, but it was released on January 1, 95.
Okay.
But
All right.
he
Oh,
had,
okay.
yeah, I
Hey,
was gonna say, I
that
was
would have
like, but
fallen into consideration.
I was brought back to that whole thing that sitting on, because I'm like sitting on Chrome. That was running. I was running that in '95. I was Slaughterhouse. I was playing that and before, and that'll go back to, I could have used that as a transition, but Hard to Earn. And I owned the Lords of the Underground, Keepers of the Funk cassette, because that was, I did like that.
Because you're from
That this,
Jersey.
yeah, that. All right, so I rep Jersey then. So yeah, I was playing Redman, and I couldn't put, as much as I do love Red. It just, There's a Dark Side is just so, it's, yeah, is, I mean,
you know what it
but
is? I just like Muddy Waters better than There Is a Dark Side. It's not a
I,
diss. I love There Is a Dark Side, and it
Oh
is a
yeah.
very trippy album. I just for me it was I like Muddy Waters better. I think there was
well,
another
I
album.
mean, but that's the whole thing. It becomes what in within Red. But I was started
Right.
this whole thing saying how this is how hip hop was able to kind of jump out. What, and I throw this out now, is there any videos that you kind of remember from '94 from any of these songs or any of these albums that kind of came out that kind of jumped out to you?
You said 94?
Yeah, Video
Yeah.
94. I love the video for Dwit. I don't know why. I mean, it's just
I
them
love that
rapping.
video too. It's just a basic video, but it's just
Yeah.
love it.
All right. So there's no
I'll
real
say this.
thing.
If I'm looking at my list, just looking at my list,
Hmm.
my number 6 album is Ill Communication.
Yeah.
And
Talk
it's
about
not my
videos.
favorite. It's not my favorite song at all off of Ill Communication. But if I'm
Sabotage.
just thinking videos that like stick out in my mind, it would probably
Yeah.
be Sabotage.
Yeah.
That was the one I had on mine, because the
Yeah.
sabotage video it was between it being on and just that, yeah, the sound of it and everything like that.
But
Um,
let me save a little face, as you all are mad that
go ahead.
I somewhat disrespected Tribe a little bit. I messed up and I picked my favorite song off each of my albums, and I did 10 instead of 5. Get It Together is hands down my favorite
Yes.
song on Ill Communications. Like nothing even comes close.
Right.
Get It Together is a slept on banger from that year.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know how that appeases you.
No, I'm just trying to like get back on
But
people's good side. That's all.
It's funny because I didn't have it in my top 10, but Method Man's Tikal came out and that one had a lot of bangers. I just didn't like that
Mhm.
album. Like
It-
my favorite song was Release Yourself from that year. I love
mhm.
Bring if I listen to Bring the Pain or Release Yourself in the gym, I'm ready to get in my Rocky on and just run through a brick wall. Like I'm lifting that extra rep. I'm lifting, I'm running that extra lap.
I mean, here's the thing. First 2 to 3 years of listening to Woo, like you know this, Ed, and you should too, Martin. I was Meth 1,000%. Meth was my guy out of Woo
Yeah.
for at least 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
The Cow, to me, it's good, but I feel like he could have put out a better album.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying this, and you're bringing it back because that was this time was that was '96. No,
Tikal was 94.
no,
Yeah,
that was
Sky was
'94. I'm
94.
sorry. I'm not thinking too much, but yeah, it was exactly that. It had a
And it was
couple
the
of
first Wu-Tang solo.
tracks that were
Exactly.
pushed heavy and everything like that, but it was kind of a lot of like, all right, so this, where, yeah, yeah, a lot
I'm
of
just
that.
saying, in the regard I hold Method Man, it's up here.
Oh, uh-huh.
And the expectations for the first solo Wu album are
Mm-hmm.
up here. And it was like, it was up here, but it wasn't all the way up where I thought it should.
You know
But
what?
that's just my
I'll
expectation.
say this though. I'll say this is that it's hard to kind of look at it because right after Takal dropped, then we got Liquid Swords, only built for Cuban Links, Iron Man. Every album that came after Takal was just so much better. So that's why Takal kind of feels like it's just a solid album because those albums came right after it.
Yeah, and it
I think
can't mess with like, Liquid Swords, Purple Tape, or anything like that.
Exactly.
You know?
I think also especially after hearing MOTHOD. Like, when he dropped that, it was like a bomb from Staten Island drop of all places.
Yeah,
Everyone from New York was like, Staten Island, like what? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? The forgotten borough. And so
I,
I
true. He
think
did set off the Woo album, really.
I
Right.
think because the standard was so high for meth coming out of that 36 Chambers album, I think disappointment was the only possible place he could land. Like PLO style is a good song, but how was it compared to 36 Chambers? It wasn't that. It almost felt like B-sides to a certain degree
Right.
until you get to your Release It Dope and your All That I Need remix, because it wasn't even the original, it was the
yeah.
remix.
Right.
You
Exactly.
know,
He kind of took
and
it to a different mood, which he did more so in Tikal 2, Judgment Day.
yep.
But
Let
he
me.
brought it, he slowed it down, and he made it like a little bit darker than what he was bringing us on 36 Chambers.
You're talking
Right.
about 36 chambers, everything like that. Let me share a story with y'all about that. Hold on a sec. At the Castle on the Hill, which is the name of the offset name of the high school I went to, which is Teaneck High School. There's a football field that was kind of down, and you had to go up the hill, so to speak, to where the school was and everything. And so I was on the field. This was like a Friday night, whatever, like that. It was after a game, and I was still on the field, not like I played or anything like that, but I was still down on the field level. But they was holding a party at the gym, and there's a whole black door, white door thing, which you can kind of hear on a whole separate thing. But so they were having a party at the black door, the black gym, and I went up. I can remember coming up the hill, up the street at my school, and it was kind of like 7:30. It was dark out and everything, and then all I could hear coming out of this gym was that Wu-Tang beat, and you just hear doom, and then I mean, yeah, that to hear Method, that's my link with Method Man and that Wu-Tang and everything like that. It's a
All right.
whole separate thing. One of these songs is probably going to be on the playlist. All those playlists that I mentioned are Apple Music and Spotify list that you can find on martinkester.com. You can comment with links to your favorite videos from the 20th century, whether it's from 88 or from 94. You won't regret stopping by and just checking it out, but we all have regrets. Hindsight's 2020, so it's easier to see that computers weren't going to suddenly shut down when 1999 became 2000. Um, bring it back to music. Just is there an album or song or an artist that you regret from either year, Kenny? You got anything?
Yeah, I actually have one for each year. So in 1988, I was one of the few people that bought Run DMC Tougher Than Leather. And I've
Mm.
been listening to that album. It was clear to see in comparison to Long Live the Cane and By All Means Necessary that Run DMC were the old men at the club, and it was time for them to go. Yeah. And in 1994, the same thing, old man at the club. I bought Big Daddy Kane, Daddy's Home. Now, I'll
Mm,
say this very
Mm.
quickly.
mm.
There was one good thing about that album was that there was a good posse cut on there called Show Improved that featured Old Dirty Bastard and also a young MC from Brooklyn by the name of Jay-Z.
Hmm. Okay.
Now,
Yeah, I know the track you're talking about. Go ahead.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, I do believe you got to give the man some grace because I believe he was fucking Madonna during that album.
I think so. You know
I
what?
believe
I'm willing to
so.
go with that.
I believe you're right. I believe you're
Yeah, and
right.
oh, one random thing about that album. Okay, I'll make it very quick. So, Easy Mo B did three tracks on that album, and he was supposed to do a fourth track, but Big Daddy Kane did not like the beat of the fourth track that he gave him. Was like, I don't want nothing to do with it. Easy Mo B gave it to Biggie, and that beat turned into Warning.
You know what though? But Kane can't go on that because Kane's a little
Yeah,
too
Yeah, that's not
fast.
King's Lane.
exactly. He
Yeah,
wouldn't have been able to ride with it. So,
because he'd have to slow down. When he slowed down for like romantic tracks. You know what I mean? I feel like when Kane slowed down, he was talking to a woman. But if
right,
he was talking to anybody else, he was talking to But I'm
exactly.
going off.
Uh,
Ed, you got any regrets from '88 or
just one thing
'94?
to that. Even Big Daddy Kane. I've heard interviews with Big Daddy Kane. Even he regrets that video, and he said that he stepped back and started listening to the artists of that era and he was like, "Oh, they're moving at a different speed and different cadence, and I messed up." So
Hmm.
that he has regrets from that album. Also, I will add, Big Daddy Kane was messing around with prime Madonna, not third base glove A-Rod Madonna. I think that should be noted.
Yeah,
I
Madonna
just like,
at her peak. Madonna
Yeah,
when it was Madonna.
yeah.
You know.
yeah, yeah. Like, so I'm just saying, I'm just putting that out there. For me, regrets 94. It's 94. The Fugees. I tried. I love that first song,
Ooh.
Mona Lisa. Like I love that.
So
I love that
when
song.
you say regret, because they're on mine, I
No, I
regret.
bought the album. Like that's the
Oh,
regret.
okay, all right. You regret buying the
No,
album. Okay.
Okay,
and
hold on though.
even it buying it used. Like I used to, you guys that lived in Boston that I went to school with you guys. You remember Nuggets? I used to go to. I lived at Nuggets
Hmm.
buying used records and
Yeah.
stuff that like. And so I bought it because it was like $2 or $3, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh.
yeah. It
And
was
then
that
I
for a
bought it,
reason.
and and it was like, man, I could have used that for like T-Fair or something like like I don't know,
Oh,
buy a chocolate bar or something because like
As
that
that album is
album
horrible.
stunk.
Oh
That
I
album
yeah.
stunk.
had
And
that on my list, and it wasn't a regret. It was just doubting that they would be able to, off of that album, to create the score, is really what it
when
comes back to.
Wait,
so
was 94 their debut?
yes,
Yeah.
All right. I know which
Regulator,
technology
translator, crew,
score.
whatever the name of
What
that.
year was the
Oh my
score?
God.
Like
the score
96?
was
96, 96,
96.
96.
Okay.
Yeah, hence why I said that for that album, as we all agree, I believe that it was trash. That for that album to then make the score, I never would have saw that coming. You
Never.
could. That's the kind of thing you would have been like, how much could I bet you that this? If I said in '94, hey, $10, the Fugees are going to be the biggest thing in the world in about 2 years. You'd have been like,
I'd have laughed in
no,
your face, especially
exactly,
after buying that
exactly.
album.
I
And
But
I go one better. I go one better. When the score came out, I was like, "Yo, did I miss something?" Like, and I went back and listened to that album, and I had regrets that I wasted that hour of my life. Like, that album just stunk. I
it was
would have never
horrible.
expected this to be one of the best-selling hip hop acts of all time. When on
Really.
the follow-up,
And quite
what?
honestly, if Salam Remy doesn't remix Nappy Heads, we don't hear nothing
oh
else from the
yeah,
Fugees.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we don't
Basically,
not a word from them.
One last thing. It's not a regret. It's more of shit happens. In '88. Song. It's not that I hate this song, but in
mm,
'88 I was in junior high school and we had to take kind of like a mandatory dance class and it was hip hop. All right. So
mm.
I have a love-hate
Oh, dude,
relationship.
before you go on, do you have any video footage of this?
I'm glad social media didn't exist
Oh,
because the
I
song
would pay
we
big
used, and
bucks.
it was the whole class, right? It was a whole class routine. And and I have it, the song's kind of triggering to a degree, but I do love the song in hindsight, especially now realizing it was Dr. Dre, sorry, not Dr. Trey, Dr. Dre. It's JJ Fad Supersonic. We were dancing to that.
Oh,
And so
yikes.
I was so
Find
bad.
that video.
I was so bad.
Somebody has to have it.
I was so bad. I was in the back, like,
Sonic.
right? But like Supersonic is like, I love that
Yeah.
song, but it's also kind of triggering because it reminds me of dance class and like, yeah.
Rashawn, you
Picture
got a dance
little Ed
class?
dancing to
I,
Supersonic.
Listen, when
you
when
say
JJ
dancing.
Fad Supersonic is triggering to you, I really got no plan for you. You might want to end it. I don't know.
You had mentioned this. I want to say, Rashawn, you mentioned this. Too hype. I view back. It's not that I regret too hype. I regret looking back for me, looking back and seeing my little chubby face with a high top fade doing a kick step in '88.
Where is the video?
Look, sadly, now that actually is video you could find if you were to contact some of my high school friends and find their bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah videos. There probably is a chubby cheeked Martin Kester with a high top fade
Tell
doing
me you were
some
the only
silly,
Let
black
silly
me
kid
dance
at
in
ask
the
the
you this
party
real
background.
too.
quick
Right.
about
And
T-Neck. How
if
many
you're looking
people
for
in
video,
T-Neck were not black or Jewish?
I'm sorry, say that again.
How
In
many
Teaneck,
people in T-Neck were not black or Jewish?
we're not black or Jewish. Probably, I'd say a good 35, 40%. It was about 35, 40% white Christian.
But it was a
Uh,
minority.
what? No,
No.
it was a majority. It wasn't, and I'm saying these numbers, and someone from TNEC will correct me, but there was a large Jewish population. There is a larger today Orthodox Jewish population. There was a black influence. There wasn't as much Hispanic and other nationalities and stuff like that. It was a large mix. It was what suburbia was supposed to be, but that's not a regret or anything like that. And it's getting away from the whole point, because that was when I was in Jersey, which was 94. A year later, I would leave and blah, 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 blah. Uh, I'm talking because I talk. I mentioned a playlist way back before. We've talked about some great albums, songs that are from these albums, and songs, period, from 88 and 94. All the songs that I've mentioned, I'm going to collect them all. They're going to either there's a Apple Music playlist, a Spotify playlist. All these songs that we're going to talk about in a second will be on said playlist, because then we can all listen to them and collect them. And then next time we convene, we can try to rank them into a top 10 list, which I think is going to be hilarious, because
Yeah.
this is some of the greatest stuff anyway. But so I'll start from I'll just start with Fuzz, because you got 10. So just give me top 5 singles from 88.
From 88?
From 88.
All right. All right. I got to do My Philosophy, Children's Story. All right. My Philosophy, Children's Story. I'll go with Ain't No Half Steppin'.
You don't have to choose now. I was gonna say you can just keep with the list. You sound
Well,
like
I
you don't
did
go around
10. So
others.
you wanted my
That's
top
fine.
five.
You can say all 10. That's fine. You
All
can
right.
say
I'll
all
do all
10.
10. All right. So I got Night of the Living Bassheads, Gangster Gangster, Children's Story, My Philosophy, Ain't No Half Steppin', Straight Out the Jungle, Paper Thin, You Gots to Chill, Life is Too Short, and Sally.
All right.
All right.
Sean, you got 5 or 10.
I have five. My philosophy was on there. Microphone Fiend, uh,
Mm.
Black Steel in the Hour Chaos, um, Straight Outta Compton, and You Got to Chill.
That was one of my regrets, was the fact that I never felt NWA. I just I don't know. Didn't I almost had a West Coast bias until Cube kind of was by himself. Because Easy's first album comes out in 88 as well. Easy does it, and yeah, no thank you.
Wow.
Ed
Easy Does
I
It almost made my top 10. That was
I'm
definitely there was a definite
I
honorable mention.
I just admitted to a West Coast bias, but because I'm not going to not admit to it. But yeah, no, personally, West Coast bias. Ed, you got 5 or 10 as
I
far
got
as singles.
I got 10 and I'll go real quick through it. I got
Hmm.
Parents Just Don't Understand. I got My Philosophy. I got Children's Story. I'm torn between Straight Outta Compton and Fuck the Police. Um,
Yeah.
Actually, and this was in my top in 88 in my top 10. Joy and Pain. How
Hmm.
Joy
uh,
and Pain.
Rob Bass.
Rob
He
Rob
Bass.
Bass.
Not It
Yeah,
Takes
Joy
Two.
and Pain.
Joy and Pain.
Yeah, I like
Joy and
Joy and Pain
Pain.
better
Joy and
than It
Pain's
Takes
the
Two.
B
Yep,
side. The B side of It Takes Two, and that's
Yeah.
why I was going to
yep.
say I had It Takes Two just because It Takes Two.
I don't know. Joy and Pain to me was I don't know, but I guess if you're wearing a emotional hat,
Right.
Finishing up, Follow the Leader. The song that hooked me into hip hop forever. This is my crack. This is my first injection. Set It Off by Big Daddy Kane. Uh,
Mm.
Second to that, Light as a Rock by MC Light.
Yeah.
You Got to Chill, and to round it out, that's yeah, You Got to Chill. But the reason, one more actually, which I think is one of the most important songs, not just in hip hop but in metal. Bring the
Uh-huh.
Noise. It was the first rap hip hop song eventually down the road, but it's Anthrax and
Walk
Public.
This Way.
That's
Walk
fair. No,
This Way is
that's fair. No, 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 no. But
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, Walk This Way is I thought
Walk
you were
This
saying
Way
in
was
terms of
before that.
metal. I thought you
that's
was talking
fair.
about in terms of metal. If
But
you was just
I
talking
mean,
about rap
Aerosmith
rock
is
mix,
considered
then
metal.
yeah,
mhm.
they're hard
For
rock and
for
metal.
hard rock
Aerosmith.
and metal.
Yeah, But as far as like hardcore metal, I mean, we're talking about Anthrax. I mean, he's from New
Yeah.
York
Yeah,
or into
Anthrax
the
is heavier. If you
yeah.
don't want to call Aerosmith metal, then yeah, okay.
But in that sense, I think it's just one of the most important songs as far as like it just sets up so many branches because it got a lot of white boys into hip hop. It got a lot of black kids into metal, and it's just I think it's one of the more important songs that's not even talked about enough. So bring the noise.
Mhm. Kenny, did you
I
that
have
get your
five,
singles?
but I will
Go
throw out
ahead.
an honorable mention. I have
Mhm.
Rebel Without a Pause, Mona
Mm.
Lisa, Microphone Fiend, Ain't No Half Stepping, My Philosophy, and honorable mention to Vapors.
Mm.
What is
Good
it?
one.
Vapors.
Vapors.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Vapors. Yeah.
Yeah, vapors. All right, so 88 singles. Pretty much I feel like all of them have been said. Microphone Fiend, Rakim, My Philosophy, KRS, Children's Story, It Takes Two, Rob Bass, because it takes two. The amount of things, the amount of things that have sampled It Takes Two in some form or fashion, just like it's fascinating if you really think about it, but ain't no half stepping, and parents just don't understand. But my overall number one that I'm almost shocked that none of you guys said, but Marley Marl, the Sympathy,
Oh wow.
Master
Yeah.
Ace,
No.
MC
Good
Craig
call.
G, Cool G Rap, Big
I
Daddy
forgot
Kane.
about that one.
It's
Good
not on
call.
Apple Music. It's not on Spotify or Pandora.
Right.
Oh.
Although the latter, Pandora will let you listen to a station, will let you listen to it as part of a station, whatever that means. The only way I found it is you can watch the video on YouTube, which is a transition, and it's a funny video because it's all in the old west. It's like literally the
The
first
Wild
minute
Wild
and a
Yeah.
West
half.
video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing and
He's playing the
then
piano.
the beat drops.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I use that since it was a video to transition into 94. But and I'm saying it wrong because the symphony, it's every posse cut is basically attempted to redo that song. And as far as like that's the first, there's a bunch of other posse cuts before it. There's many afterwards. That is in the top five. It's at least on your Mount Rushmore of all
Absolutely.
time posse cuts. You can, you can other things, but video for it, only way you can find it, transition to 94. Uh and yeah. Oh, that's right. So in 94, so Snoop singles dropped in 94, but the album was released in 93. So Gin and Juice and Who Am I are not eligible. And that also means that I Got You Open, the remix by Black Moon, is not eligible either, but it's a great song.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, so everybody, you get hate on my rules, but that's what it is. But Buzz, you get that look on your face. What songs from 94 you got?
All right. Let me do all 10.
All right.
All right. I got Unbelievable. It Ain't Hard to Tell. Players Ball. Come Clean. No Tears, which is Scarface off the Diary. Get It Together. Speak Your Clout, which is off of MOP's debut. Or no.
Awesome.
Speak Your
Hard to
Clout's
earn.
on Hard to Earn. My bad.
Mhm.
Posse Cut on Hard to Earn, if we're talking about
Mm.
Posse Cuts. From MOP's debut to the Death, Rugged Never Smooth. As I mentioned before, What Would You Do by the Dog Pound, and Rockefeller by Redman.
Mm.
Mm.
Okay.
All right.
Penny, what you got?
All right, so I got a top five and a honorable mention, which is near and dear to my heart. So I got The World Is Yours, Come Clean, Unbelievable, I Can't Wait, and Bring the Pain. And a favorite track of mine from '94. I don't know if anybody's familiar with this, but The Recognized Thresholds of Negative Stress by the Boogie Monsters. If you've never heard that song before, go and listen
That's a
to it.
deep
Oh
cut.
my
Long
God, it's
time.
such a classic.
I may have to re-listen. That's a deep cut right there.
Yeah.
All right.
You got to put that one on the list. You got to put that on Spotify.
All of these are going to be on lists that y'all will provide for me so I can add them to the playlist. Ed, what's your top five, top 10 from 94 songs?
I just want to preface this that 94 is my favorite era of music, whether hip hop, rap, metal. So I'm glad that we just stuck to hip hop because I could go on for hours. It really 94 is like my year of like music
Yeah.
anyway. I had mentioned before Method Man released at Delph. Nas is Life's a Bitch. Biggie Small, I was torn between Warning and Everyday Struggle. Again, read the hat. Everyday Struggle. Outcast, Outcast, Crumbling Herb, my favorite track. Gangstar, Now You're Mine. I love the way how he rapped about playing hoops.
I
Now
like
You're
that.
Mine is one of my favorite all-time
Yes.
Gangstar tracks. Root Down by Beasties. Can't Wait by Redman. How About Some Hardcore by
Wait,
MOP.
wait.
Yes.
I was torn between 1-800 Suicide and Diary of a Madman by Gravediggers. And lastly, again, read this. Never Seen a Man Cry Till I See a Man Die by Scarface.
All right.
Which I feel is like the easy answer, but still, that song is dope.
Yeah.
Rashawn, what you got?
No Tears is better.
Fair. That's fair.
All right. A couple of these have been mentioned before. Unbelievable, Biggie, Bring the Pain, Crumbling Herb is this is my honorable mention, but I got Get Up, Get Out, Get Something. Um, the Most Beautiful Thing in the World.
Good one.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. I didn't know that dropped that year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yo,
it did.
how
It
does
did.
such a goon write such a beautiful song?
Can we call Keith Murray a one-hit wonder?
That's
Yes.
I believe. Yeah,
yeah.
there's a couple other Keith Murray tracks. I mean verses, but yeah,
Tracks or
no.
verses?
I struggle to try and find the track, so I'm not going. I'm not going to try.
He was
So
the French Montana of his era. He's
I'm gonna
always on
say
a feature.
verses, but as far as
yeah.
tracks, I feel like that's it.
No, that's about it. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Dude.
And then Mass Appeal by Gangstar. That was
Good
All
one.
right. I'll just kind of run through. There's a lot that I've kind of already put on there. One Love and Halftime are my two favorite songs
Ooh.
from and the thing I was listening to it today because Halftime is on Illmatic, but he shouts out 92 in the song.
Because
Because
it
they
dropped
wrote
as a
it.
single before it
I
was on.
know that's why
Yeah.
I'm just
It was
laughing.
actually
It
on
was
the
on 12-inch
soundtrack
vinyl.
for. Do y'all remember the movie Zebrahead with
Yes.
Michael
Yes.
Rappaport?
Yeah,
It was on that soundtrack.
yeah. But it dropped as a 12-inch vinyl single before Illmatic came out.
Yep.
The two other tracks that weren't I think somebody mentioned Regulate by Warren G, right?
Oh yeah,
No.
you can't
no.
talk about a crossover classic '94.
That's
Like you could go to a Black Frat or a Black Frat. They were playing regulars. I don't know. Like that was getting played.
there's that I'll Craig Flavor in Your Ear remix. Did I
Yes.
miss someone saying
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Because
I was about to
that's
say that.
Yeah.
and the okay. Oh, did I not get
One of
you?
Ghost's best verse. The Flavor in Your Ear remix.
Who's verse?
Ghost.
Flavor, yo, and Flavor in
Oh,
Your
I
Ear.
had the wrong one. I'm
Ghost
thinking
wasn't
special
on there.
Ah,
delivery.
I think
son.
it's special delivery.
Yeah.
Biggie killed that one.
Yeah,
Nah,
yeah.
Biggie and
Ghost, I'm
L
thinking
killed
special
that. LL
delivery.
Cool J, yo, LL Cool J,
And
he dropped
LL's
bars on
on
that
that. He's
Yeah.
on
No,
LL's
Biggie,
on some of the
Biggie just
greater
opening
posse
the joint
tracks.
with Bama's is mad. I got more butt than
one. But then
ashtrays. That's
ashtrays,
it. He could have
yeah.
Yes,
stopped.
yes, that's Flavor.
He could have stopped
And
right there.
I put this on here, and you can. I've already taken a little fright from it, but 69 Boys Tootsie Roll that dropped in '94, and it. I'll say this: that's the historical speak of it because I hadn't really heard the down south booty clap music like that. You know what I mean? I didn't really get Luke and the whole. I wasn't there for that, so. Tootsie Roll is the first time it's like really, and then to come here in Atlanta and see what Tootsie Roll, what swag sway, what that is like in an Atlanta club. It's like, oh, I can see why you did Tootsie Roll and you ran it back, and the song is the same, so we just gonna run it back because it's the same thing. Because we had that beat and we knew he was gonna get everybody in the club that was gonna lose it. That's what everybody was like. It's like DJ Cool. Let me clear my throat as far as introducing the rest of the world to go and DC music and stuff. That's the way I view it. It's like that was the
That's
introduction.
fuzzy. I ain't
I
even
don't know.
touching
I
this
might
shit.
have
Go
to
get
call you out. What
no
year was this that Tootsie
doing the
Roll came
butt.
out?
94.
94.
Oh,
Doing the butt came out before that, like '88,
So
right?
that's dangerously close to Friday because I feel like this is why I say that because I felt like we had watched Friday before Tootsie Roll, where obviously Hoochie Mama is prevalent in the
Oh,
movie.
Oh, oh, what a
So
classic.
if you saw Friday before Tootsie Roll, then
Hoochie Mama.
Yeah.
I thought Friday
if
was
you missed the whole
96.
like, move something and all that, then you definitely caught Friday, the Hoochie Mama joint.
I want to say Friday is 95, but
I remember doing the butt, like from Spike Lee, like that was big
yeah,
feature,
but
and
doing
That
the
he's
was
got
butt
an
is
acting.
Tuesdays.
not Tootsie Roll. But doing the butt is not
Doing the butt is
That's
the
go-go. No,
go-go.
that's
That's
up-tempo
go-go. That's
side of
go-go.
it.
Miami booty
That's
bass.
go-go. As far as Miami booty bass, I got my ears got polluted awesomely with Doodoo Brown.
None of y'all knew Move Something?
Yeah,
Nah.
Yeah.
I actually bought as nasty as they want to be. That was
Yeah.
Yeah,
my
that was
introduction
that
to
was the first, like,
yeah.
All right.
that's when it hit.
Friday,
We're this
Friday
is this
was
is why
95,
this
by
is
the way.
what?
Friday came out in 95.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
with that, I'm gonna slow this down because yeah, all these songs and everything like that are gonna be sent to me some way, somehow. I'll add them to the playlist, and we'll come back and try and do a top 10 for all these songs. As you can see, it should be fun trying to narrow all this down. I'm gonna close with a trivia question, and it's been mentioned on here a couple different times. Yo MTV Raps started in August of '88, ran till about 1995. Fab Five Freddy was the original host, but it wasn't until Dr. Dre and Ed Lover that it kind of took off to reach its heights. According to Wikipedia, how many episodes were pushed into cable boxes across the country? How many episodes of Yo MTV Raps aired?
Wow.
Give
Uh
me the years again.
88 to 95. It's mentioned and It Was a Good Day by Ice Cube. And Doogie Howser, quote, is frequently seen wearing a Yo MTV Raps white t-shirt, end quote. That's on the Wikipedia page, which is why I think we all fuck with Neil Patrick Harris.
Kind of is that
And
dude. I
Barney
ain't gonna
was a
lie.
pimp on How I Met Your Mother. I love that guy.
Hmm.
So I've given you all enough time. Numbers. Ed, what you got?
Uh, Shoot, I'm gonna go with 153
All right.
episodes.
Rashawn,
Go with 175.
175. Kenny,
Um, I'm gonna say 200.
Fuzz.
All right. If we're going, who's the closest without going over?
Price is
Yeah,
right. Rule.
sure. Price is Right rules.
Give me 325.
325. The trivia answer will be in the description for this episode. Remember, all songs and albums mentioned will be posted on martinkester.com with links to the playlist that I've mentioned, and we'll eventually rank them. I'd like to thank all the guests for stopping by and wish you and yours safe travels to wherever your highway takes you. Thanks for listening, and good night.